reconvene the annual budget meeting for the R.T.M. Today is May 16th, and it is 7:02. Deputy Town Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Is this on? Yes. Okay. Representatives Adams. Here. Bailey.
Here.
Burrell.
Here.
Bright.
Here.
Casper. I see him.
Yes, here.
Gotcha. Surf.
No.
Chase.
Here.
Cop.
Here.
Crockett Hubbard.
No.
Dean Chimbra. Eben.
Here.
Frickman.
No.
Fritchie.
No.
Gardner.
Here.
Gothier.
Online.
Here.
Okay. Guillen-Perro. Did I do that right?
Here. It's Junipero.
Okay. My apologies. Gustafson.
No worries.
Here.
Hainline. Hanscom.
Here.
Ivy.
Here.
Jacome.
Here.
Massett.
Here.
Merritt.
Here.
Norman.
Here.
Aubrey.
Here.
Powers. Kristen.
She's absent.
Powers. Sean.
Here.
Pacino.
Here.
Ray. Is she on
She's
there?
online, top left.
Okay.
Here.
Scott.
No.
Semeraro. I apologize. Thomas.
Here.
VZ Williams.
Here.
Watson. Weaver. Wells.
Here.
White.
Here.
Whitney. Is he here? No. And the moderator, 29.
All right. We have 29 people present. Representative Jacome said he may be late. And just a quick announcement before we start. Groton is doing a cleanup this Saturday and next Saturday. They're asking everybody to take a couple hours and just pick up a couple bags of garbage to help clean up Groton. So the first thing on our agenda today is CIP 6D Town Hall Complex and Representative Merritt.
We've already covered A, which was the senior center.
We have a new list that was sent out today. Am I wrong on, did I get the wrong list going? Hold on. 6C?
Yeah.
Town Hall Complex, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
On page 231.
Right. Okay, CIP 6C is the Town Hall Complex. The council's number was $40,000, and the R.T.M. committee that met, no? Oh, $395,000.
$895,000?
Why did okay, here it is. Yeah, the R.T.M. committee's number was 2 in favor, 1 against. of $95,000 was the number presented by the Public Works Committee.
So $95,000 is what
Correct.
it's going to be?
Two in favor of that number, one against.
So that was Merritt and Evan?
No, it was Wells.
No. Right now. Are you saying right now?
No, the night, the 21st.
Okay, sorry.
There's three of us here now.
Are you done with your meeting minutes for that account?
That was the number at the committee.
Correct.
I would like to put up another number.
I believe you have to put up the committee's number first.
I did.
Okay. So
$95,000.
that was the question. Seconded by Evans. Hold on one second.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you're right.
And you wanted to put up the second number?
I would like to propose a second number,
Okay.
$895,000.
Second.
Who was our second?
Massett Ogre.
Thank you, Matt. Representative Surface Director.
My basic rationale is that we've spent $45,000 on the study, and if we cancel this out, we don't get that $45,000 back. It may be an archaic way of doing something, but we've done it. We might as well go forward with it.
Okay. Representative Evan.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So I just want to follow up on, it's an archaic way of doing it, but we should keep going. If you're digging a hole in the wrong place, I think when you find out it's the wrong place, the best thing, the most cost-efficient way to move forward is to start in a better location. And that's exactly what's happening here. Basically, we've got in 2019, the Governor Lamont, his first executive order that he made as governor, set targets to decrease greenhouse gases in Connecticut by 45% below 2001 levels. He followed that up with a Governor's Council on Climate Change, and they wanted to engage municipalities as allies. They came out with a report in January of this year, and they said the municipalities should incentivize the uptake of new clean energy technology and efficiency measures and encourage municipal government to adopt lead-by-examples approaches, which the state is taking under Executive Order 1 with their buildings. Just more recently, in EO Executive Order number 21-3, the governor said that Connecticut must take significant actions to reduce carbon dioxide emissions and prepare for what he called a climate crisis. In 2021, Groton's own town council passed a resolution to, quote, address climate change resiliency and sustainability as central management principles for all actions taken by town government. That resolution affirmed that climate change is a growing threat that's already impacted Groton, and it committed the town council to becoming a leader, and this is a quote, in combating climate change and becoming a more sustainable community. The town of Waterford itself has moved all of its town hall buildings to electric heat pumps. All of its schools use geothermal heating. So there are other paths forward. Again, if we dug a $45,000 hole in the wrong place, I'd encourage us to figure out where the right place is and not waste a dime more of money in that old, useless hole that was dug. So I'm going to put a motion on the floor for $135,000. And that motion basically takes the $95,000, which is going to be used to perform a space utilization study to determine the best space for recreation programs and also to replace carpeting. And it adds $45,000 for the town to get a consultant who can think out of the box and get us out of the fossil fuel hole that's being dug with natural gas. Natural gas is not the other white meat. It's a fossil fuel that creates greenhouse gases, notably carbon dioxide. Right now, Groton is at risk. Many of our neighborhoods in Groton are at risk from sea level rise, which is expected to increase over 2 meters in the next few decades. Storm surges will make this even worse. we can just give lip service to this town resolution that was last year, or we can kind of engage in meaningful change that will mean that Groton will be around for more than a few decades and that my kids will get to live here. And that's why I'm putting this motion on the floor, because I really think we need to think about electric heat pumps and other types of technology, and I'm not the consultants that get paid so much money that the town hires, so I am not knowing the details of this. But there are other ways out there that can be used to heat buildings, because the town of Waterford has gone in that direction. Right now the EPA is giving rebates for people who put air handling units in their houses. I know because we just got one. And there are more cost-efficient ways. This natural gas, the other thing I want to say, by committing to natural gas, we're committing to the most volatile, most expensive fossil fuel at this point, which is spiking because of the war in Ukraine and the fact that Russia controls a significant part of the supply. You only have to look online to see how expensive it's going to be in our future tax world in the town of Groton if we continue to use fossil fuels. It is not economically sustainable. It is not environmentally sustainable. It is not ethically the right way to go. And so I'll just say that as an R.T.M, I challenge you to think about the future of your kids, your grandkids. We need to get off this bad hole that we dug, this wrong direction that we've dug, and we need to, go in a better solution. And this $895,000 is almost $1 million. This is technology that's going to last 40 years. In 15 years, it's going to be obsolete the way we're going. This is not economically prudent. Okay? And I know that this body cares about economic prudence at the foremost. This is big infrastructure we're putting in this building, which is not going to last more than a decade at the most. If it's not obsolete, it's going to be regulated to be obsolete. And we're going to be driven under by the cost of buying natural gas for it. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Eben. Representative Adams.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd like to know how under what circumstances the committee came up with $95,000.
It removed. I'm sorry.
They removed the repairs of the furnaces in the community center, which, if I'm correct in understanding, if they fail, then we shut the community center down. And that was included the taking out of the tanks, which have reached their usefulness. And you can test them every year, but there is an expense to that. But they have to come out of the ground eventually. Do you want to say something to this, Greg?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Greg Hanover, Director of Public Works. Closer. Okay, there we go. The department had requested $895,000 for this 6C. $800,000 of that was to replace the two oil boilers that were installed in 1977 as part of the addition way back then. One of those boilers has failed. It requires extensive repairs to get it working again, so we're down to one boiler. It was identified several years ago to replace those with gas boilers. We hired a consultant last year to do that work. They're designing those now. Yes, it's a fossil fuel, but they are much more efficient than oil-fired boilers. To go to electric boilers would be about the same price, but you're going to be paying Groton Utilities an exorbitant amount of money for electricity unless you put in solar panels all over the place, and I don't even know how many it would take. So the committee voted to remove that $800,000 for the replacement of the boilers and fund only the $75,000 for the space utilization study for the architect, for looking at Wing A for moving Judge of Probate over there, Parks and Recreation from the Spicer House, some minor renovations to B and C Wing to better serve the parks programs that are over there now. And then there's also $20,000 for carpet replacement in the town clerk's office with vinyl planks because of health issues. So the committee cut $800,000 and only passed $95,000, so that's where the $800,000 came from.
Representative Casper.
Moderator, I'd like to know if anyone, if in that study there was geothermal considered, because that's probably the only way that heat pumps would work in our climate.
We did not look at geothermal.
Representative Bailey.
Thank you very much. I have a question for the town manager. For the spreadsheet for the CIP, it says other. Just possibly, is that under or covered under that ARPA funding?
The council set the funding source as ARPA funding.
So this wouldn't be taken out of our capital reserve fund at all. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you very much.
Representative Norman was next.
First, I want to start and say there's like a concept called the sunk cost fallacy, which basically is what Rep. Evans said, which is when you start somewhere, once you put money in, you want to keep going, but you actually have to pause and say that money's gone. What is the right thing to do in this situation? I think from hearing and I guess getting down to the money of it all, if we think we have to replace this with electric in 15 years, and that costs the same amount of money, right? So the money we're putting in now, and we're replacing it again, it's about $56,000 a year over the next, this $800,000 over the next 15 years. You said the cost of electric is exorbitant. How much is that if I'm thinking about the replacement cost in 15 years versus now, and how long does electric last for?
I don't have the numbers of what the actual utility bill would be each month for if we went to electric boilers.
Can you give an estimate? Because exorbitant means you have some ballpark idea. Are we talking something?
It's the engineers didn't even look at this because it was just we didn't ask them to because it was so high. The number would be so high. I don't know what the number would be.
Representative Obrey was next.
My little friends didn't turn it on. Thank you. I think what was said.
Hold on. You're still not on microwave.
You're lucky you're not hearing. Are we hearing me now?
Yes.
Can I sing a little song?
You can.
No. What was being said is absolutely true. I agree with the fact that the town has to find a way to go in a better course. But the problem that we have is that we have a problem now. We don't have an ability to run this building on one boiler. We don't have anything in process to look at another option. We could probably find another one if we were at the beginning start of it, but we're not. We can't take the chance of having this building continue to be worked on and then not be able to be used. And it is being worked on. They're working on trying to arrange offices in the front of the building. And certainly the programs that are there for the kids, especially the one that they're starting where they're going to have dinner for children that need it all this winter. Now, it would be pretty short-sighted if all of a sudden we can't feed the kids because we got a cold building. So I feel that we have to go forward with what we have right now, but with the understanding that from this point forward, whatever we have to do, we look at the option of another way to have a fuel that's acceptable. I don't know how you could say we're just going to cut it. There's too many things that are happening in that building. And I especially feel very strongly about the fact I don't want anything to happen to make it so that the children can't be using it. I think you remember we just recently talked about the program that's starting, and they'll be doing dinners for them. I don't know how many nights a week, but at least 5. And we have ongoing programs. And we have a lot of use in the basketball. And we're going to have a probate judge moving in. And it's just irresponsible to say, well, we just got to stop right now. What we have to do is give the directive from here to the council and to whomever that anything that's looked at in the future, that is how we would approach it. I understand you have a point to make, and I do agree with you. It's just that we can't do it this way. We can't do the harm that could possibly come from just saying we're not going to do it. So please think about it. Think about how we remember to continue on saying, no, we don't want that kind of an estimate. We want the kind of estimate that Groton wants. So please vote in favor of the original number. Thank you very much.
Hold on.
It's not, unfortunately, it's not up there. Where
It is.
This is the number. 895.
Representative Powers.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. First of all, I don't want to go down the path of energy and how it's created and how it's generated, because we'd be here for hours. But more importantly, what Representative Obrey said is we have to live in the real time today. Okay? And today we have all of these things going on. With that building, we've created a building. We need the space. We have to look at what the children and the impact it is on the children if the boilers go out. The director here has made it very clear that we need this. The boilers are from 78. One doesn't run at all. And the technology that we have in place to do what Representative Eben wants is there. But at what cost? That's the bigger question. And how do we generate us going into the next decade a source of reliable heat when we live in the Northeast when you're using heat pumps? It's near impossible, and the costs are exuberant. Electricity is not easy to generate, and it's not very efficient when you use it, okay? Other than that, I won't be voting for any of the numbers other than the number that was in the CIP in order to give this man the opportunity to at least service our community with the needs that they have. Thank you.
Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just a couple of questions, I guess, about process. When did the boiler go down?
I believe it was last year.
Last year. So have we been running on one boiler since then, or has it been...
Correct, one boiler.
One boiler since then. So it's been about a full year?
Mm-hmm.
We've been operating on one boiler. Now, with the resolution that the town council passed, how is that being implemented on the public works side? Is there an established process that... how has your department reacted to that resolution?
When we meet with our consultants, we discuss different alternatives for clean energy and things of that sort. We rely on them for their expertise and what's in today's world what is working. They're telling me heat pumps is another 10 years out in this area. And then, to do electric boilers, like I said, is, you really need solar panels all over the roof to make it economically feasible.
And you said you had some idea of what geothermal would go for. You said that it would be approximately the same price?
No, that was for electric boilers, just for the boilers themselves.
Okay, so there's no standard practice to have a full workup, full estimate on all the options that are out there, as far as like the currently traditional options as well as the environmentally forward-thinking options? Is that a standard practice or no?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Is that a thing that maybe could become part of the standard practice?
Yeah, as new technologies become more commercially available and feasible, yes.
Because from sitting on this end, it's a little frustrating to hear about this resolution and watch the resolution get passed last year about sustainability, and we're planting our flag and saying we're going to go in this direction, but then to find out that internally departments have not really totally integrated that approach. It sounds like we just sort of got the standard quote for the standard technology that's known of, and we don't have anything really to compare to. I mean, we have some vague assertions of exorbitant prices, but that's not a hard number. That's not something we can really kind of grasp our head around. So I just got to share that. I'd be curious to know if it could be a lateral cost or a cost. I'd be even interested to know what that cost would be for geothermal, because it sounds like other towns are doing it. And, I know of a few friends of mine who actually have houses with geothermal. They made the investment, and it's going very well for them. So, I'm a little flustered and frustrated with not having enough information here to really make a well-rounded decision. And it feels like we're kind of being forced into just accepting this gas boiler or not, and living with the risk of one boiler. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to vote on. I got to think about it. I want to listen to more deliberation. But I just hope that moving forward we can make a firm, hard turn towards the sustainability route, and you make that part of the standard practice for all departments. And I'm addressing my comments not just to you, but also to the town manager. As far as let's make it a firm thing that we were committed to.
Point of order.
All the way internal.
What's your point?
Thank you.
My point is that, while I respect the remarks I'm hearing, this resolution, for one, which seems to be the drive of the conversation, would be council-generated to us through the town manager, and not for our decision here.
This was a resolution that happened a year ago.
Correct.
So I understand the point that's being made by Representative Thomas, that this is the direction that the town council has pushed.
Correct.
And that it is germane to this issue.
I don't see where it directly relates to the item on the table.
Okay.
What relation is this? He should wait his turn if he wants to say something.
He made a point. Hold on. He made a point. We're just addressing the point of order. Hold on.
If I could explain how it's germane.
Town manager has the floor.
Okay.
A couple of things. One, just to mention that the actual CIP from last year called for a study for natural gas, and that was done just shortly before that resolution was passed about the environment. So there's this came a little bit before that, and it was locked. I'm looking at last year's thing, and it does mention natural gas as the replacement. However, I do myself lean towards looking at more sustainable options. One thing to consider. If we end up having to do something with solar panels, that's a longer process than a year. So something to consider is, I was asking Greg, how much is it to repair the one boiler that's down? It's $60,000. So to get us through, you might want to consider adding $60,000, and we get it repaired, and then we study alternatives and come back. So it's just another option out there.
Representative Wells was next.
Somebody mentioned numbers. I have numbers. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and this is an estimate of last fall in October of 2021, they expected heating with natural gas cost to increase by 30% in the coming winter, and 22% if it was a warm winter, and 50% if it was a cold winter. They expected heating with electricity to increase by 6% in a range of 4 to 15%, depending on the weather.
Decorum, please.
And this was before the war in Ukraine, and Europe decided they didn't want to buy Russian gas and would have to be buying ours. Connecticut electric rates from January 21 to January 22 went up 5%. I got that from something that you heard, Tom. Natural gas is 2 to 3 times what it was 2 or 3 years ago when we had a glut of natural gas. So I imagine a lot of this enthusiasm for natural gas comes from the good old days when we had more than we knew what to do with. And the Energy Information Agency expects rates for electricity to fall to 10.5% by 2030 and to fall to 10%, 10 cents a kilowatt hour by 2050 because of the increased use of renewables. They're putting wind farms out here, hydro and solar's popping up all over. It's getting less expensive. So I just think in the long run, the gas is going to prove to be expensive, and it would probably be less expensive. As far as the money goes, we have to get the tanks out of the ground by 2024, and we've been hearing all this budget season about the poor taxpayers. Their houses got revaled, and they're going to be paying more. And isn't there some way we can put it off? We're hiring a sustainability officer. Maybe we wait to get that officer on board and get that person to weigh in on it and do this next year. And we can buy gas next year. It'll still be here. It'll probably be more expensive. And other minor thing is that electricity prices tend to be more stable because they come from a variety of sources, whereas natural gas, it's traded on a world market, whoop, whoop, up and down. Anyway.
Thank you. Town Manager.
I just want to mention, not that I agree with much of what you said, but just to mention GU just put a 20% increase in. For the second half of this year, we were told we were going to have to come up, I believe it was over 100,000 extra by the end of the year. So they did do a very large increase. But again, my preference is another alternative than gas if possible. But I want to make sure we don't have a boiler breakdown in the middle of winter, so I'd like some account for that.
Representative Merritt, you were next. Did you have a comment? Representative Merritt?
No, I think I've said all I can.
Representative Chase was next.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I remember reading back before they closed Fitch Middle that they were thinking of closing it because it wasn't a healthy building. And the next thing we know, it's a community center. So I'm so confused about this whole building situation since it's open. So did you, Mr. Burt, say that if you added $60,000 to the 135, then you could do a study?
No, it's $60,000 to repair the boiler that's down.
Repair the boiler.
And that would buy us some time to study it, and then because it'll be even more time if we had to do solar options.
Okay.
Solar panel options.
All right. Yeah, I'm as confused as Rep. Thomas on how to go with this because I totally agree with Representative Eben about this. We need to start thinking about the future. So what would you do, Director, what would you do with the 135 if that passed?
Well, 95 of that would be for the space utilization study and the carpet replacement, and then would that give me 40,000 left? It wouldn't be enough to fix the boiler, so it'd have to be more than 135.
So if you added 20,000 to that, so 155, you could do the study and the repair?
No, you would need an additional 60 onto the 135.
Oh, okay,
the 40
gotcha.
would be needed to look at alternative options, and then 60 to fix it and buy a couple of years' time to get it implemented.
Thank you.
Representative Massett was next. She hasn't spoken yet.
Just a quick question about timing. Now, this money, if it's approved, will not be available until July 1st. How much time would it take to, I don't know, do geothermal, whatever? Is it something that would take a month, or is there a whole process, a bidding process, RFPs?
Yeah, between designing, bidding, and constructing, it's probably a year or more.
Thank you.
I think Representative Norman was the next one with her hand up.
Hi. Okay. I think the town manager got to what my question was going to be. I think my remaining question is, I know often we vote in order. So if I wanted to put up a new number, can I
have to vote one down first?
We have to vote one down, but I'm just going to make my intent to be so we don't call the next one.
Okay. Representative Thomas was next.
The town manager pretty much answered the question. I just wanted to clarify that the 60,000 would be on top of the 135.
Correct.
So that that would buy us about a year.
Well,
year and a half.
Because solar can take a little long. Because if the study's not done for a while, and solar can take a while to get through the process, you might be talking 2 years for implementation of whatever we do. Right. So it buys us time.
Could the study include both solar and geothermal?
Yeah, that would be my intent.
Okay, great. Thank
Representative Gustafson.
Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I go to that building a couple times a week, and this past year I was in there, and I guess the boiler wasn't working. It was pretty cold. I have a question. Would it be feasible? What if we just replace one boiler and not two, and perhaps the other half of that money would go towards, investigating geothermal? Because personally, I think geothermal is the way to go moving forward. Because there's definitely a lot of volatility in the natural gas market, as has been discussed this evening. So could you get by? I mean, right now we're getting by on one oil-fired boiler. If we replace one of those with gas as a kind of a bridge, would that be something we could do?
I was just talking. We think the 60,000 would get us through. We don't.
Okay.
We'd rather not invest that much if there's a chance we're going to change to different technology.
So an additional 60 to the 135, as you had mentioned a few minutes ago, could get us by. The boiler wouldn't break down in the winter time. Is that the case?
Well, it would fix the one that's broken now, so that we would have a backup in case the one that's actually working now goes down, which is
right.
It's 40 years old almost.
Because right now you have no backup.
Yeah, we have no backup right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you,
Representative Evan.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I believe sustainability and carbon reduction should be key concepts that are utilized by the town government to vet all projects. And in fact, a few years ago when I was on the R.T.M., all CIPs were assessed for their sustainability. There were different indices at the bottom of the page with CIPs, and one of them was a sustainability index. So at some point in the very close past, this was something that was done. There were evaluation of what was being put into the CIP for basically its environmental sustainability. And I'm just wondering why that's missing, why that is no longer in the CIP, because it was a useful thing. I served as the vice chair of the Sustainability and Resilient Community Task Force a few years ago, and that was one of our recommendations that was adopted by the planning department. And now apparently it has been gone. It's no longer a practice of the town. But I really think that we need to evaluate these CIPs basically on their sustainability impact, on their fundability, on the technological feasibility, on market maturity, on life cycle costs, cradle to grave, environmental impacts, marketability, durability, and other key performance metrics. I don't know what the consultants do. I don't know the scope of work that you outlined for them, but these are things that should be asked for. When we pay them as much money, and some of them make a lot more than, obviously make a lot more than I make, they should be providing information that we can use in our decision making. I don't know what came out of this, but there should be metrics that we can use to measure if that's really the best way forward. And so I just hope that we can really move forward with a fresh awareness that these are things that matter to the people of Groton. They were things that mattered to the last town council, and I'm not sure why all of a sudden environmental sustainability and evaluating the way we spend our money on a number of different criteria or metrics has been lost in just a few years. Thank you.
Thank you. Town Manager.
I just want to mention that wasn't being done when I arrived 5 years ago. My guess is the resilience person was moved to schools. Is that probably why that transitioned?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Right. But it hasn't been since I've been here.
Representative Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. It seems as though nobody wants to replace two boilers. My question is for the director. Are both boilers sister boilers? Are they identical?
Can you hold your microphone a little closer?
Are the boilers identical?
Yes, they are.
So if we added 60 or maybe even 75 to that 135 number, you'd have a little bit more to make sure the current one stays running?
Well, the one that's broken has an internal leak in it, so it has to be taken all apart and resealed and everything. That could happen at any time to the other, the one that's working now. So there's really no preventative maintenance to do on it, per se. I mean, we do, it's kind of, we fix it as it goes along kind of thing.
Gotcha. Fix it when it's broke. Okay. Well, I'd like to move a number. I know I can't because there's 3 right there. But if Representative Evans and Thomas were to rescind theirs, I'd like to move 195.
We haven't, it hasn't been rescinded, so we're still at. Right. Representative Cerf. Representative Cerf. Okay, well, she comes on. I have a few more people who have asked to speak, so I'm going to keep moving. Representative Chase. No. Representative Obrey.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I can.
Hold on. Representative Cerf, go ahead.
Okay, can I just say something quickly?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Cerf. I just wanted to support what Representative Evan just said, and I recall that when we were first on the R.T.M. together 15 years ago, that we both came up with the idea for one of those schools of putting in geothermal, and we were poo-pooed 15 years ago. And however, we did make enough noise about it, and we also quoted a local school nearby here that had decided to put in geothermal, and the principal said it was the best thing he ever did, and that we saved a ton on energy.
Okay, hold on. Representative Cerf, what's your point?
My point of order is that we are discussing the boilers at the community center and not talking about things that happened 15 years ago.
Thank you. Representative Cerf, can you speak on the motion, the current pending motion, please?
Is there a time limit for how far back in time we can go? Anyway.
We're talking about this one motion.
My point is that we had brought it up at that time. And I want to support Representative Evan here because we had brought it up as something that we were interested in, and I find that still, now that we have a sustainability officer, I'm going to say this in a positive way, not a negative way. I would like for us to have options, as Representative Eben said, not to be confronted with what town wants to do, but I would like to see options for solar, wind, geothermal, electric, gas, whatever, and the prices.
What's your point?
Because we should.
Representative Cerf, hold on.
Why is that a point?
Representative Cerf.
Why is it a point?
Representative Cerf, please.
I don't understand.
Representative Cerf.
Everything I say is a point of order.
Representative Cerf.
I'm talking money here.
Do you have?
Like to see.
Okay, and do you have something specific that you want to say about these 2 boilers?
Excuse me?
Do you have something specific you'd like to ask about or state about the 2 boilers that we're discussing, or the $895,000?
Is that you speaking, moderator?
Yes. Is there something specific?
I'm trying to understand. I can't really hear.
Is there something specific about the $895,000 that you'd like to state?
Why don't you let her talk?
Please use decorum and don't cuss at me.
I thought we were talking about this boiler and the possibility of various forms of energy. Have we already gone past that subject?
We're talking about the boilers. Are you stating that you don't support the boilers?
All right. What I would like to say is my support for Representative Eben, what she said, which is that it would be nice to know the options, different options, and the prices, the costs of these different options, so that we could choose based on past, present, or future. We could choose what we think is the best for Groton's present and future. And we don't seem to get that. We always get what the French call a fait accompli. In other words, the decision has already been made, and all we can do is say up or down, yes or no. I hope the sustainability officer in the future is able to provide us with the options and the costs every time we do something to a building in terms of power. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Massett.
the budget. We are not discussing future policy, which is not our job anyhow.
Thank you for your point. Representative Casper.
That's exactly
Representative Casper has the floor.
That's the problem.
Representative
We
Surf.
shouldn't have that.
Representative Surf. Representative Casper. Representative Casper, you've spoken 2 times.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I at this point, I would support repairing the boiler and spending some money on a study which gives what other options, such as geothermal with heat pumps, will cost, rather than spend $800,000 for technology. I agree with Representative Sima that intent's really going to be obsolete. And I think it's foolish to spend $800,000 at this time on that technology without
Representative V.C. Williams.
Geothermal and other power.
Thank you. Representative V.C. Williams.
Hi, sorry. I feel like
Thank
everyone has a pretty good feel of what they want to do, and I'm not sure how to do this. Should we move to a vote? Is there like a motion I can?
You can say yes.
Move to question, please.
Move the question. All those in favor of moving the question, please raise your hand. I have all but 4 in the room. So not Thomas, Wells, Eben, Chase. Online, if you want to move the question, please raise your hand and keep it up. So I have Representative Hanscom, Bailey, Gauthier, Frickman, and Hainline all yes. Those opposed to moving the question, please raise your hand. Representative Surf, we're moving the question. We're voting to move the question. So all of those opposed to moving.
Are we voting on the higher or the lower number?
We're not voting on a number right now. We're voting to move the question. So I have Representative Chase, Thomas, Wells, Eben, Aubry. Hanscom, you've had your hand up for both.
Okay.
If you are opposed to moving the question, please raise your hand.
I'll vote whichever way. I vote whichever way Eben voted.
Good. That's great.
You just need to vote yes or no. Are you moving the question or no? Do you vote to move the question or no?
Okay, which one were you voting for? Yes or no?
We're voting to move the question. Representative Giampiero, I don't have a vote for you. Or Frickman. Or Ivy.
Abstain, please.
Okay. Representative Frickman?
Yeah, I have a question, sorry.
Yes. Ivy? Representative Ivy? Representative Surf? Yes or no? Or abstain? Representative Surf, yes?
I vote yes on moving the question.
Okay. Then we have, how many people do we have in total?
We have 31. So
That
let's see,
we
1, 2,
cannot
3,
have 31.
4, 5.
We have to have 41, I think. So it's 25 to 5 to 1. That motion passes. The first number on the floor is $135,000. We will do a roll call vote.
Can you repeat that one more time, please? It was kind of hard.
We are on CIP 6C. And we are voting on $135,000.
Thank you, Madam Moderator.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
Adams?
Abstain.
Okay. Bailey?
No.
Burrell?
No.
Bright?
No.
Casper?
Yes.
Surf?
No.
Chase?
Yes.
Cop? Eben?
Yes.
Frickman?
Representative Frickman, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Did you get mine?
No. What did you? Yes or no?
Oh, it was a no. Sorry.
No.
No.
Thank you.
No. Do you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Gardner?
Yes.
Gauthier?
Abstain.
Giampero? Did I say that wrong again?
No, that's good.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that's a no. Gustafson? No. Hainline?
No.
Hanscom?
Yes.
Ivy?
Representative Ivy? You can skip and go on.
Jacome?
Not here.
He was here.
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't here. Massett?
No.
Merritt?
No.
Norman? No. Aubrey?
No.
Powers? Sean?
No.
Pacino?
No.
Ray?
No.
Cimarero?
No.
Thomas?
Yes.
VZ Williams?
No.
Watson? Oh, he's
Not here.
Okay. Wells?
Yes.
Whitney?
Not
Oh, he's not here. White?
No.
Okay, and
No. So that motion fails 7 to 20 to 2. Representative Norman.
I would like to move a new number of 200,000 that includes the 95 for the carpeting and the space utilization, 45 for a new study, and 60,000 for repairs so that we make sure we have heat for that new study.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to move forward with $200,000. We're going to do a roll call vote again.
Adams?
Yes.
Bailey?
No.
Burrell?
Yes.
Bright?
Yes.
Casper?
Yes.
Surf?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes.
Cop?
Yes.
Eben?
Yes.
Frickman?
No.
Gardner?
Yes.
Gothier.
No.
Giampero.
No.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Hainline.
Yes.
Hanscom.
Yes.
Ivy. Massett.
Yes.
Merritt.
Abstain.
Norman.
Yes.
Aubrey. Sean Powers.
Yes.
Pacino.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Yes.
Where's Watson? I listened for Watson, and then it's my turn.
Semeraro.
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Beasy Williams.
Yes.
Wells.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Ivy? So that passes 23 to 5 to 1.
All right.
Sorry, abstain.
Oh, he abstained. So that passes Ivy,
Ivy.
23 to 5 to 2. All right, next on our list is CIP 6D, Groton Public Library on page 232.
Madam Moderator,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
the committee moved $310,000, which was the council's number, and I understand this is another mutual funding.
Is there a second for $300,000, Representative?
Right.
Wright?
I'd like to comment on the minutes, point of order, yes, information.
Yes. Representative Eben?
There was another motion made for 275, which failed, and I would like that noted. I made the motion.
Yes, there was one yes, one no, and one abstain. $275,000. $275,000.
Okay. Representative Hainline had her hand up first. Sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt the meeting. I have to leave, and I don't have a chat box anymore, so I just wanted to notify you.
Okay, thank you, Representative Hainline. Representative Eben.
I'd like to put a motion on the floor for $275,000. That motion basically strips out $35,000 to convert an underground fuel oil tank to natural gas. And while I would be happy to rip out that fuel tank, since I understand that there are time limits on when that can happen on the certification for the Underground Storage Act, I really feel, again, that we need to think out of the box and think about converting it to something else. So I'd be happy to know how much, if you can tell us how much it costs to just take that out without the conversion to natural gas. But again, I really feel that natural gas is not the prudent economic way, the prudent environmental path forward, and it's not the ethical way forward.
Well, if you remove the fuel tank, you won't have a boiler anymore, and you won't have heat in the building.
Okay.
Representative Norman.
On that removal, it looked to me like it wasn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't actually the removal, it was designing the removal. Is that correct? It's a planning number that was stripped out? Not
Correct.
Okay. So how much would it be if instead of designing the removal and only converting to natural gas, but converting to sort of an expanded number of sources such as geothermal, electric, other, what would the cost of that study be? Would it be the same price or would it be more or less?
I would move to keep the same number and just
Okay.
To look at, to design the removal of the tank and then to look at the other options
Okay.
to do in the next year.
So you think that you could do it and you would do it beyond just natural gas and you could get that all done for that design for the same $35,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Representative Obrey.
I just wanted to remind everybody, I don't know how much you know about geothermal. I'm no expert myself, but I know that it was the recommendation of the Director of Public Works that that's not the way to go in this weather. I can tell you in homes, if you have it, when you reach a certain temperature, it shuts off and must go to electric heat. So I think it's a little premature to be suggesting something like that when it really isn't that efficient. You'll find most builders have moved away from it.
Councillor Bordelon has her hand up. Councillor Bordelon?
Thank you. I was just asking to join the meeting. Thank you for recognizing that. Thank you. I have no comments.
Okay. Councillor Casper. Or Representative Casper, sorry. Getting home.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I wish to correct the previous speaker. I think she was referring to geothermal, but was referring to heat pumps. Geothermal works very fine in this in our weather zone.
Representative Tom Eben, because you only made a point of order.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I just wanted to clarify that the Marine Science Magnet School is geothermal. All Waterford schools are geothermal. Geothermal works fine in this climate. Many other municipalities have moved to geothermal. It's not like some esoteric technology that has never been used. But I will consider withdrawing my motion as long as we can consider that design phase could include more than just a conversion to natural gas. If Representative Thomas, thank you. Yes, it's removed.
Representative Ivey.
I apologize for interrupting, but I do also have to leave the meeting due to work obligations, so I will be leaving now.
Thank you. All right. Representative Wells. Sorry.
Yeah, I spoke to the mayor of New London about this issue last week because I ran into him, and he said New London is entirely electric. We are the country cousins. I'm sure that there are more people in Groton heating their houses with wood than you would find in New London. But anyway, I found an interesting quote from Mark Cooper, who's a senior fellow for economic analysis at the Institute of Energy and the Environment at the Vermont Law School. And he says, this is a race between getting to the future and being stuck in the past, and the future is less expensive. And I think we're seeing that here. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just to clarify, yes, we wanted, it sounds like there's a lot of consensus here, or a good bit of it, that we want to just see the report have all the options available, including solar, geothermal. So it's not a firm commitment to anything. It's just a matter of getting all the options on the table so that we can consider it, fairly. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other hands, we are voting on $310,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. And online, if you're in favor of 310, could you please indicate that? So I'm just writing down who doesn't have their hand up at this point. So online in the affirmative is Hanscom, Casper, Bailey, Gauthier, Giampiero, Ray. Okay, you can all put your hands down. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Representative Gardner. Representative Frickman. Representative Cerf, do you have a vote? I'm sorry. Her vote was yes? Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so that, we have 28 right now, so that passes.
Okay. Cerf saying yes.
Thank you, Representative Cerf. Anybody abstaining? No abstentions. So that vote passes 26 to 2 to 0. All right, next on our list is CIP 6I Golf Course Facility Maintenance Building on page 233.
The council's number and the committee's number was $455,000.
Right.
That being a large number, could we hear from the Director of Public Works on what encompasses that?
Sure, and just a reminder that the council did denote this as all ARPA funding. There's really two projects here. There's the maintenance building renovations. The maintenance building was constructed in 1978. It's a metal-framed, metal-skinned building that is in very poor condition, has leaks. The doors and windows don't operate very well. It's literally got holes in the side of it. So we're looking to, basically put a new roof, new siding, new doors and windows on the entire building. The cost to do that work is about $305,000. The other part of this project is to provide a public restroom along the 8th hole, which is right next to the maintenance building, because the utilities are right there, the sewer, water, so it'd be fairly easy to construct. It would be a public restroom. There's been a need from the golfers for a number of years to put a restroom at this part of the course. So we're proposing, an accessible men's and women's room along the 8th hole next to the maintenance facility, and that's around $130,000 for a total of $455,000.
Are there any questions? Representative Thomas.
I'm not sure exactly what the process or options may be, but I, for one, disagree with the idea of using ARPA funds for this project. So, just stating it for the record. I'm not sure if there's a mechanism to untangle that and redirect.
We do not have that option.
I don't think it's appropriate use of ARPA funds. Thank you.
Representative Eben.
I'd just like to ask, thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd like to ask the town manager, what are the 5 bins that the ARPA funds are supposed to be used for?
I do not have it right on me.
And honestly, we don't get to direct what comes out of what funding. So
I know. I just wanted to remember what they were.
We meant for it to include pretty much anything you could think of, though. That would be a government type thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Representative Surfheader. I'm sorry. Representative Surfheader, hand up next.
Yes. Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm also against the idea of using our funds for these bathrooms. Never mind the fact of the amount to build a bathroom. It looks like it's just one bathroom for $455,000. You could build, 3 perfectly nice houses for low-income families for that amount of money. To me, it's beyond being a laughing stock. It's really a shock to see this number. I mean, I know that whatever we build in the town costs more than if we were going to build it under normal circumstances, but this is really beyond description appalling, and it's appalling using money, COVID problems to build a golf course bathroom. I just don't see how anyone can vote for this. I certainly am not.
I think Representative Aubrey had her hand up next. If you...
Are you looking this way, or?
Yes, I'm sorry, Representative Aubrey. If you are online, hold on one second. If you are online, could you please mute yourself? We're getting some noises in the background of different people. And if you are by a microphone, if you could just keep your comments. We're just having, some people on Zoom are having a tough time hearing. All right, sorry, Representative Aubrey.
I won't tell any more jokes. I was just going to mention that I kind of agree with you with the opera funds, but part of one of the baskets is economic development. And believe it or not, that's going to add to our economic development. Kind of a stretch, but it will. Thank you.
Representative Casper.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I would like to point out to everybody that when COVID struck, the golf was the only recreational facility that was open, and also the prime mover on the bathrooms is the request from the who play golf. They've really haven't had decent bathroom facilities on the course at all. All there is on the course is a few scattered porta potties, and you know how good they become summer. So I totally agree that this is an excellent use of ARPA funds.
Representative Norman.
Hi, thank you. For a bathroom of this expense and size, I wanted to check and see, do you have gender neutral or single stall options so that we are being an economic development for all people?
This is proposals for separate men's and women's rooms.
I guess the question was, do we have
an option for
an
that?
option? Are these single stalls or are they multi-stalls?
These are two stalls, or two separate rooms with just one stall in each room.
So this was a conversation that I would say we had a year ago or so when we talked about Sutton Park, I believe it was, with one bathroom, because that way it could be used by all people and not be discriminatory on people who are non-binary. So I would respectfully request that we consider that option. Representative Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So if we build two bathrooms, it's going to cost $130,000, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And those bathrooms both can be unisex bathrooms?
They could be.
Okay. So I'd like to move another number.
Okay.
$130,000. I think the golf course needs to pay for itself. Restrooms are important, and we're funding that. But the maintenance shed, there's not really in it that much, so I'm not going to want to fund that.
Representative Councilor Borderline.
Thank you. I know that someone had brought up asking what the buckets were, and I think that's important to have as the discussion is being deliberated. So the buckets are economic development and resiliency, infrastructure and transportation, parks and recreation, human service, arts and culture, and actually there's a sixth bucket that they are advertising online as ARPA, administration, and other. I just also want to add that the reason we're getting these funds are because so many communities were devastated and had loved ones that they had lost. And the money that's already being allocated, as I am a firm supporter of infrastructure and economic development, we need to make sure that we are funding the human services which directly impacts and supports the community in which the folks who had greatest loss. Most of the money that's been allocated already is more than triple, I don't even know, I think, under serving on the long-term date, along with the former moderator, Mrs. Evans, who's also still currently on there, we did a rescue fund of $100,000 that only just recently started trickling into the human services. But outside of that, more money has gone to, or the thoughts of more money going to, much of a broader thing that's not directly impacting the reason why we are getting the money. And I'm all for women, and I think they should have equal access to restrooms, and the concerns of people peeing all around the golf course is disturbing in this day and age. But maybe one unisex bathroom. Again, I encourage this R.T.M. to consider what was the money given for and what should we be doing. If in fact we want bathrooms, that's a town issue, not an ARPA fund issue.
Thank you. Representative Gauthier.
Yes, thank you, Madam Moderator. Mine's more of just to help the folks on Zoom. Is there any way to move the whiteboard so that we can see all of the numbers that are kind of on the floor right now? Maybe not right in this moment, but eventually, so that
I don't know where the camera is.
We have more clarity.
Sean, could you give me an idea of where this camera goes to? I'd be happy to move the whiteboard. I just don't know where it needs to go. No. If I move the whiteboard, where can I move it so that it's within their view? Can you see it there? Representative Gauthier, can you see that board now?
I'm coming to the meeting.
Yes, I can't see the writing because of the glare. Maybe it's a moot point. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I don't think you're not using a thick enough pen. All I see is a completely white board. I don't see anything written on it at all.
I will do the best that I can to write as dark as possible. Representative Gauthier, do you have more that you wanted to say, or is that it?
No, thank you.
Representative
Thank you,
Guerrero?
Moderator.
Thank you. I was just wondering if we don't allocate this ARPA money to go to the construction of the restrooms, then what would happen to it? What would we do with it, I guess?
It would go back into the pot for other grants for ARPA that we just started advertising.
Good evening, Mark Berry, Director of Parks and Recreation. I guess this isn't going to come as any big surprise, but the condition of the building has deteriorated to a point where, Director spoke about, it's got holes in the ceiling, it's got holes in the walls, and, the council voted to direct ARPA money towards this, and I think it would be a mistake not to. We need to keep our buildings and our infrastructure in good condition. This is a building that's in poor condition, and I think the money ought to be directed towards that to improve that building.
Representative Brickman.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Moderator. So I guess my question is, if we didn't use ARPA monies for this right now, eventually down the road, these are something that's going to have to get paid out of the taxpayers' dollars anyway, correct?
That was a correct.
Yes,
most likely. Yes.
I couldn't hear it.
That was a most likely. Yes.
Okay. So I don't understand. Okay. So I guess my point is really, at one point we're going to have to fund these, and why not use the ARPA money that's available right now rather than kicking the can down the road and using our taxpayers' dollars at a later date? So I don't see why we don't spend it.
Representative Powers.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just a couple questions from my experience and knowledge. When we build a building like this, everything has to go to the newest code available. Is that correct?
For a new building, or
anything that we build, we have to build to the code.
Correct.
Right. So the bathrooms would have to be ADA compliant.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Which is what we need to do throughout the whole entire town. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And as far as the washdown stations and the things that you need to house the equipment that is housed in the building for the golf course, that has a whole different special design, doesn't it? As far as
it's an industrial use. There's also employees in there. There's
right.
Employee bathrooms, break rooms in there.
Solvents, storage areas, washdown for the equipment, blades, all kinds of different things. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah,
Right,
they repair all their equipment in there.
Right. So would you have a lift and things to hold the equipment up and tractors, so that the cost that we're looking at here is not excessive in my opinion. But then again, I haven't seen the drawings of it and what you're going to do there, but I'm going to be voting for the top number. Thank you.
Representative Surf.
No, just saying what the building is used for.
Yes, well, I've got to go hit the button again. Oh, okay. Yes, I'm a woman, and I play golf, and I'm an ardent golf fan. And when I play at Elmridge, which is the competition on the street there, I have to use a porta potty halfway along the way, and I don't mind at all. That's part of the playing golf. I mean, you rough it. We are going to be the laughing stock of the entire state, if not the entire country, if we allocate $455,000 in addition to the other thing also for the golf course out of ARPA funds. I don't think some of you realize the visuals of this thing. Excuse me, did somebody say something?
No.
Why did...
Representative Surf, you just muted yourself. All right, I'm going to move on to Representative Casper. If you can unmute yourself, we'll get back to you. Representative Casper?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I don't believe that the R.T.M. can dictate where the funds come from. I think if people have questions about ARPA or not, they should bring it up with the council, but I don't think it's within our...
That is correct. That is correct. We don't get to choose where the funding comes from. Seeing no other hands raised, Representative Thomas.
Just a quick question about the maintenance shed, the $325,000 figure. That's the estimate for that. Is that correct? Looking at the CIP here, the $455,000 number includes construction of the restroom building for $130,000, and to complete the exterior envelope rehabilitation work, $325,000. Is that the maintenance shed you were talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And if I understand Representative Gardner correctly, his motion was basically just trying to target the immediate need of the bathroom, and saying the maintenance shed, should be handled otherwise. The maintenance shed, how long has it been on location there? And I don't know if I'm using the correct term, maintenance shed, but is that
that's fine.
Shorthand?
Yeah, since 1978.
Since 1978. And how long has it been kind of in need of repair?
Do you want to answer that question?
Like anything else, and like us, we slowly deteriorate over time. I don't think that I could set a date to say, this is when the switch flipped, and it's just continuing to rust. The holes get a little bit bigger, a little bit more water comes in through the windows each year, and
So it's been a slow growing problem.
Yeah, this is not something that we just all of a sudden, oh my goodness, look at the holes. It's every year you watch them get a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger.
Now, within the golf course budget itself, overall, do you have an allocation for maintenance and repair overall?
We have for maintenance and repair of the equipment. We invest, and all of that money comes from golf course fees. Last year we just invested in a new machine that cuts all the blades. The previous machine was, 25 years old, and we couldn't even get parts for it. So we do make investments. We also make investments, on the course, but larger capital projects. And we've gone through this kind of model before. We, a number of years ago, tried to have capital costs paid for through greens fees and also membership fees, and we just weren't able to sustain that.
Okay. Now, has this CIP for the bathroom and the maintenance shed has that come before us previously in previous years?
Yes, there was a few years ago. There was money in the budget for, I think we allocated $50,000 for the bathroom, and we weren't able to create a bathroom for $50,000. We looked at one of those pre-constructed, I think they're CRX, they're kind of cement buildings. Essentially, it was a glorified portalet. There was no running water or anything like that, and those came in at like $65,000 to $70,000.
Okay.
So we put it off, and the suggestion was made that we try to tie it into the. We were actually looking at tying it into the renovations that we're also talking about, perhaps carving out a little bit of space in the maintenance building and putting the bathroom in there. Greg did the engineering, and it actually came back that it would be cheaper to separate the building rather than having the bathroom inside the maintenance building.
All right. And if, say, the amended number passed, the $130,000, under your purview, would you say that which would have the higher priority, trying to address the maintenance shed or building the bathroom? Because we can't direct what you actually do with it.
Yeah,
it's up to you at the end of the day.
If the 130 was moved, that would do a portion of the building and not have any bathroom. I mean, I guess we have a couple of choices. We could sink it all into the bathroom and continue to have that issue. We could use the 130 towards part of the repairs, and then we probably would be back next year asking for more money because the holes get bigger, the water, things continue to kicking it down the road is not saving us any money. It's going to cost the town more money if we kick it down the road.
Now, a quick, just a bureaucratic question, I guess. If say the 130,000 passed, and would you, and this might be a question for the town manager actually, would you be able to apply for ARPA funds? So theoretically, if the 130 passed, the leftover amount would go back into be reallocated in the ARPA funds. Would the golf course be able to apply for ARPA funds in the same year, like in a month or two, like if that number passed?
Yeah, we can, though. It doesn't make much sense to me to pull out of ARPA to try again for ARPA.
Right, I guess I'm just saying it would be that'd be one fallback position if, say, the 130 passed. If that's a more palatable number for people tonight, there would be a fallback for the golf course to apply for ARPA funding shortly thereafter and be considered just for that exclusive use for the maintenance shed. In theory. I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Representative Cerf, and before you speak again, I just wanted to make sure you were understanding that the bathroom is only $130,000. You had talked about a $455,000 restroom. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that it's the 130 of the 455. But you may go ahead with your second turn.
Can I still? Well, hold on. Oh God.
You were on. You're good.
Can I still speak?
Yes, because you got cut off.
I just think that our town has gotten enough publicity from the newspapers recently for various things, and I think that this would be the kiss of death. If we put that we're spending, and I think I totaled it up to about $600,000 or $700,000 on the golf course out of ARPA funds. I don't think we're ever going to recover from this, unless of course you all don't care what the rest of the world thinks or what the public thinks. I think it's a community center for teenagers or something like that. That would make sense. But, bathrooms on the golf course or maintenance buildings on the golf course. I also understand about, people wanting to go out and play golf during COVID, but it's just somehow not serious. It really isn't. When you suffered financially during COVID, and here we are worrying about the golf course. And believe me, I understand the importance of this golf course. I just think the optics of it are absolutely abominable for us.
Thank you.
I don't think we should do this. I really don't.
Thank you, Representative Serp. Representative Massett.
for Director Barry. The maintenance building, it's not a shed, it's a building.
It's a building, yes.
You store like chemicals and
yes,
that
and
kind of stuff.
equipment,
So
yes.
as the building deteriorates, there is also the increased possibility of stuff leaking into the ground and just pollution. Am I correct or am I off base?
Actually, the chemicals are stored in their own unit, but, having equipment getting rained on and exposed to moisture just accelerates the deterioration of the equipment and anything stored inside the building. And I did want to mention, we do a survey every 2 years of all the golfers, and one of the questions that we ask is how much they spend when they come to Groton. And the information collected 2 years ago, the golf course brings into the local economy about $400,000. Now, that was when we were playing 31,000 rounds of golf. Last year, we played 39,000 rounds of golf, and golf continues to be the number of rounds is, it looks like this year is not going to be any less than last year. So, I don't think we're spending money frivolously. The golf course directly, like I said, brings in money to the community on an annual basis.
Representative Chase.
Thank you, Madam Moderator.
Can I just say something?
No,
Can I just say
you don't have the floor, Representative Surf. 1 second. Representative Surf. Thank you. Representative Chase.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. ARPA funds have very specific things that you can spend them on, and one of them could be, Town Manager, correct me if I'm wrong, is the golf course. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Because people can gather outside and socialize.
It would fall under multiple categories.
Exactly. So, and we've just spent $184.5 million of our local, state, and federal dollars that we pay for the schools, and we have always kicked CIPs out of the realm of anything so that we can do other things or not increase taxes. And I've said it before, this town is going to fall down and we're going to have 3 beautiful schools. So we need to keep our infrastructure up, get moving with it, and I don't want to say the ARPA money is free money because we did pay for it and we will be paying for it, but it's here, we have it. Let's use it for what it's intended. Thank you.
Seeing no other hands, we are going to do a roll call vote on $130,000. So CIP 6I, $130,000.
Okay. Representative Adams.
No.
Bailey.
No.
Burrell.
No.
Bright.
No.
Casper.
No.
Surf.
No.
Chase.
No.
Cop.
No.
Eben.
Yes.
Frickman.
No.
Gardner.
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
Giampero.
Representative Giampero.
No.
Thank you.
Gustafson.
No.
Hanscom.
Yes.
Jacome.
No.
Massett. Merritt.
No.
Norman. Aubrey. Sean Powers.
No.
Pacino.
No.
Ray.
No.
Semeraro.
No.
Thomas.
Yes.
VZ Williams.
No.
Wells.
No.
White.
No.
Whitney.
No.
No. So that fails 5 to 25 to 0. The next number we have is $455,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. I'm just writing down. All those, and me. And me. Okay. All those opposed? I have Thomas, Eben, Gardner, Whitney, Gauthier, all those abstaining. Sir, if I didn't get a vote for you on $455,000 or Hanscom. Representative?
It's a no from sir.
No. Okay. She said no. Representative Hanscom? She might have raised her hand. Representative Hanscom, were you a yes or a no, please? Representative Hanscom? Yes or no?
Sorry, what was that? No.
No. Okay, thank you. So I have 23 yeses, 2 noes, 0 abstentions. That motion passes. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. Please be back by 8:45. to CIP 6K Golf Course Facilities Clubhouse. On page 234. Go ahead, Representative Mayor.
Okay, this was golf course facilities in the clubhouse for $25,000. The vote was 2 yes, 1 no, 1 abstain. I believe, I don't want to speculate on this one, Greg. Could you speak to this?
Sure. This is 25,000.
Hold on. I need a number and a second.
Oh, you
seconding?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's $25,000. There's rubber tiles around the pro shop at the clubhouse on stairways and vestibules and our hallway that have been there for a number of years. The rubber is deteriorating. The tiles are lifting and creating tripping hazards. So this number is to remove those and to replace the rubber with like rubber mats, stair nosing, and et cetera.
Just for clarity, the $50,000 that was originally on here was cut by the town council. That was funding for landscaping. Representative Eben.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd like to put another number on the floor. I'd like to put $5,000 on. And I think that rubber mats for $25,000 seems kind of high. I had asked at our subcommittee meeting what was the linear length of those mats, and there was no answer. Do you know now, Mr. Hanover?
It's 350 square feet.
350 square feet. I'd suggest that we could probably move forward with stone dust, and that's what the $5,000 is to cover. Thank you.
This is for stairs and rubber tiles over concrete. It's not an exterior
I thought you
walkway.
said it was
No,
the
this
walkway
is
to the pro shop.
It's stairs up to the pro shop. There's a vestibule up there. Then there's also along Plant Street. There's a covered walkway that's concrete. The rubber is glued down to the concrete. This is not a stone dust or brick walk or anything exterior. This is actually more internal to the building.
The Plant Street part is on, so it's 350 square feet inside?
Yes, it's on the outside of the building, but it's on concrete as part of the building, if you can understand. It's not like on the ground. It's on the steps leading up to the pro shop, and there's a walkway that's covered along the Plant Street side of the building that has this rubber tile on it.
Okay. I mean, I felt this way in the committee. It seems like $25,000 is quite a bit of money to cover 350 square feet. Is that what you said? Of area. So I feel like there are probably more cost-efficient ways to do what needs to be done. Maybe the rubber mat can be removed and left as is. Certainly stone dust would be an option as well, if I'm understanding. It seems like it's outside. That's why I'm a little confused. It's not inside except on the stairs where probably like some kind of tread could be put in.
No, and the covered walkway, you go steps up to it. It goes along the side of the building, but it's got a roof over it, but it gets rain on it, but it's concrete, so you can't put stone dust. That would not be an option.
Oh, okay. This is on the south side of the building?
The north side.
Okay, now I'm really confused. I'll just leave it as is. I have no idea. I go there a lot, but I don't know where that is. Thank you.
Representative Casper.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. It seems to me that in the old days when the golfers wore spikes, that this rubber was needed and necessary. But no one has metal spikes anymore. Everyone is wearing spikeless golf shoes, and I really question whether you really need this anymore. I think it's just is this just something from what was done in the past?
Yeah, it was requested by the Parks and Rec to replace the surface with like surface.
Are there any ADA concerns with this? Or if there's stairs, you couldn't go up it anyways? Are there any ADA concerns with this, or is this not ADA compliant anyways because of the stairs?
It's not ADA compliant with the stairs anyway, but it's more of just creating a trip hazard with the tiles that are lifted.
Okay. Representative Chase had her hand up next.
Thank you. The recording is paused.
Oh, the recording is
number 1.
paused, Sean? Thank you.
Recording in progress.
There we go.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. What was the lifespan of the rubber tiles that are down now? How long have they been there?
They've probably been there 25 to 30 years.
So maybe 1,000 or less per year we're getting at those. I mean, that's how I look at how we're spending dollars, is how long it lasts. Are they really thick? How thick are they?
Yeah, they're pretty thick. They're probably, 3/8 of an inch thick.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Representative Thomas? Okay. Okay. Seeing no other hand, the number on the floor is $5,000. We'll do a roll call vote.
Representative Adams?
No.
Bailey?
No.
Burrell? Bright?
No.
Casper?
Yeah.
You said yes.
Surf?
She is not there.
Chase?
No.
Cop?
No.
Eben?
Yes.
Frickman?
No.
Gardner?
No.
Gauthier?
She's no longer on.
Giamparo?
No.
Gustafson? Hanscom?
No.
Jacome? Massett?
No.
Merritt?
No.
Norman?
No.
Aubrey? Sean Powers?
No.
Pacino?
No.
Ray?
No.
Semeraro?
No.
Thomas?
Yes.
Veazey Williams? Wells?
No.
White?
No.
Whitney?
No.
Russ, no. 20. No. That fails. 3 to 25 to 0. Next number on the board is $25,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. Oops. So I have online Bailey, Frickman, Casper, and Ray all are in favor. I've okay. All those opposed, please raise their hand. I have Eben and Thomas and Whitney and Hanscom and Guampero. So that passes 1, 2, 3, 4. That passes 23, 18 to 5 to 0. Thomas, Eben, Hanscom, Guampero, and Whitney. Okay, thank you. Next up is CIP 6 M, police, on page, sorry, I don't have that page in front of me. Page 235. And just for the record, Chief Pizarro is on Zoom.
Okay, we have a number of $310,000. Under committee, there was 2 in favor, 1 against. And this is another multiple funding. And Greg, if you could speak to this.
Sure. There's 3 components to this project. The first is, I'm sorry. I keep.
Who was my second? Adam.
Okay. There's 3 components to this project. The first is to resurface the front parking lot. It was last paved when the building was built in 1979. It's the last remaining portion of the parking lot that hasn't been replaced. It's in poor condition, and it's the front of the building, so we want to resurface that. That's $25,000. The second portion is to renovate the men's locker rooms. We have $250,000. That's LoCIP funding. That's the state local capital improvement funding for this portion of the project. Again, the men's locker room has not been renovated since the building was built in 1978. It's in poor condition. There's ventilation issues, and I'm sure the chief could add if you have any questions. But we have $250,000 of LoCIP funds for that renovation project. And the last one is $35,000. Again, it's the same situation we have at the library, where we've got underground fuel tanks that need to come out of the ground. So, I'd propose to use that as a means to design the removal of the fuel tanks and to study a alternate source of fuel for the boilers. So the total is $310,000. Thank you.
Chief Pizarro, did you want to add to that?
No, I just will comment that I know the council and some members of the R.T.M. have been through our facility in the last 6 months and others before that. The locker room is a facility or part of the facility that's used on a daily basis multiple times by every male officer that's assigned to the department. There's when it was designed, it was probably sufficient. Officers have a lot more equipment. It can probably be laid out a lot better, but those of you who have seen it know that the lockers themselves are rusting from the bottom up. Room is not in really what I would consider acceptable anymore for anyone to utilize with the frequency that they utilize it. So I ask that you approve this project. I think everybody else knows about the front parking lot. It's time for that to be replaced as well. But I think Director Hanover gave a good idea of what we're hoping will be approved by the R.T.M.
Representative, thank you, Chief. Representative Norman. Microphone, please.
Two quick questions. Number one, I see this is for the men's locker room. When was the last time the women's locker room was updated?
The women's locker room was done as part of the emergency dispatch edition that was done about 15, 18 years ago. They got a whole new locker room, so theirs is in much better shape.
Great. And then the next piece is there is a delta from our books. We had the locker room at $200,000, and I think you said at $250,000. Can you talk to me a little bit more about when that $50,000 change occurred?
After we created the budget, we took another look at the numbers again, got some updated numbers for the ventilation that needs to be done, as well as the locker room, the renovations themselves, and we felt that $250,000 was a more appropriate number for this project, and we had that much money in LoCIP, so that we could cover that with the LoCIP funds.
Representative Thomas. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Representative Kopp was next. Okay. Thank you. Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. And thank you for the clarification on the change in the funds there. That was good information. And just want to say yes, and thanks to the chief for the tour. I was one of the members that went up there. I can personally vouch for the fact that that locker room is in desperate need of renovation. So I'm in full support of this number as it stands. I just wanted to clarify with Mr. Hanover and the town manager that the $35,000 for the design and removal, you did mention alternative. We're going to be consistent with the new approach as far as looking at all the options that exist?
Correct.
All right. Very well. Thank you.
Councilor Bordelon.
Yes, I just got a text that Mrs. Surf is sitting in the waiting room and was not promoted, so that's my only thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, seeing no other hands raised, the number on the floor is $310,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. We are unanimous in here. Okay, Representative Surf is the only one who I don't have. I've got all in favor, all opposed. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Representative Surf, we're voting on CIP 6M in the amount of $310,000. Do you have a vote? Okay. So that passes unanimously with the exception of Representative Surf, who hasn't. Do I put her as abstaining, or do I just not? Don't count her? No, she didn't put up her hand. So we have 23 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstention for CIP 6M. Next up is CIP 6N, Town Hall Annex Complex, Annex Building, page 236.
Okay, 6N is the Town Hall Annex Complex. And the number moved by the council was $25,000. And by committee was 3 in favor.
For $25,000?
Yes. That was 3 out of 3 voting, 3 in favor.
$25,000. Is there a second to that number?
Second.
Representative Powers?
You have a quick remark on that, Greg?
Sure. The Town Hall Annex was probably constructed maybe 25 years ago. We've had some humidity issues in the council chambers in room 2 and 3. We've actually addressed those with new HVAC system replacements, which we just finished this week. Seems to be working. So the $25,000 is to take a look at the engineering for design of the employee area, which we do get quite a bit of complaints in the summertime about excessive heat and humidity in several offices. So we want to address the employee area, and this is for the design of that.
Are there any questions or comments? Representative Thomas.
Will this design also be expanded to include any sort of alternative options that may be available for redesign?
With air conditioning, it's a little different, but we can certainly ask. But we've got all the ductwork in place, so it's just really replacing equipment. We actually put in smaller equipment for the community rooms up there, so that the air conditioner can dehumidify like it's supposed to, and some different controls. But we can certainly ask.
Yeah, that'd be great to see. Thank you.
Representative Merritt.
In my discussions with Director Hanover over this, is the equipment in the back rooms, the employees area, is that also affected, the IT equipment?
Well, there's the IT equipment's down in the basement, but everybody has personal computers in their offices. It certainly impacts paper and things like that getting jammed in the copier and all those fun things. But mostly it's just the employees that just are very uncomfortable on really hot, humid days.
Thank you.
I'm just doing a quick count. have 28 people. Is that what you have? I just want to make sure we're at the right count.
28.
Okay. Then our 18.5 and 0 is probably not correct. Never mind. Okay, so we are voting on the number of $25,000 for CIP 6N. All in favor, please raise your hand. Representative Surf, are you voting? So I have anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Representative Surf? Okay, that passes 27-0-0. All right, next up is CIP 10B, pump stations.
CIP 10B. I have a number of $1,200,000. Committee present was 3, and it was a unanimous vote.
Moved by Mayor, seconded by Evan. Page 246. Is that correct? Page 246. Thank you. Do you want to speak to this?
Sure. This is CIPs for the wastewater pollution controls facility. These funds are totally paid for by the sewer user fees. This does not come out of capital reserve. Just want to remind everybody of that. For this, we have $1 million to upgrade the Mumford Cove pump station. This is one of our major pump stations in town that basically pumps all the raw sewage from the whole eastern part of the town to the treatment facility. All the pumps, motors, and stuff in here is all original equipment, so we're looking to upgrade this to new, more energy-efficient pumps and motors with variable frequency drives. We also have $200,000 to design the replacement of the Burgess Park pump station. This is a small pump station that's up on near, kind of up near Bridge Street, Route 1. This is what we call a canned pump station. It's basically a metal can that's put in the ground, and over the years it's kind of deteriorated to the point where the guys going into it are seeing water and dirt come through the side. So we really need to replace this pump station. It's a smaller one, but it still needs to be done, and that's $200,000.
Any questions? Seeing none. All in favor of $1,200,000, please raise your hand. We are voting on CIP 10B and $1,200,000. In the room, I've got you all. And we are unanimous in the amount of $1,200,000 for CIP 10B. Next up is CIP 10C treatment facility on page 247.
And once again, we have a number of $800,000 approved by the council and approved by the committee. 3 present, 3 yes. For the number of $800,000, I so move.
Any discussion on this? Representative Casper. Representative Casper? Nope.
I just hadn't put my hand down. I have no questions.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none. All in favor of $800,000 for CIP 10C, please raise your hand. I have everybody in the room. Thank you. Okay, that passes unanimously. 28-0. All right. Next up, CIP 1A, Town-Wide Pavement Management Program, found on page 210.
Okay, we have CIP 1A, Town Pavement Management Program for $850,000. We had a committee of 4. It was 4 in favor.
Chase, second.
Representative Chase. So this is CIP 1A for $850,000. Motion made by Representative Merritt, seconded by Representative Chase. Any questions? No? All right, seeing none. All in favor of CIP 1A in the amount of $850,000? All right, that passes. I believe one person just left the room, so that is 27 to, did someone just leave the room, or am I? Oh, town manager, thank you. So that passes 28-0. I saw somebody leave. I couldn't figure out who it was. All right, we are on CIP 1B, Traffic Signal Replacement and Upgrade, page 211.
And I move the Public Works Committee number of $430,000.
430?
Yes. 3 in favor, 1 no, none abstain.
Is there a second? Sorry, who was that? Thank you. CIP 1B. Any discussion or questions? Representative Eben.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I just want to ask Mr. Hanover, $430,000 for one traffic signal?
Yes, I couldn't believe it myself when the engineer gave me that estimate, but they assured me that based on current bids that they've been getting, with the price of all the equipment, that this is an accurate number. This does include, pedestrian signals, crosswalks, all new handicap accessible ramps at all 4 corners of this intersection at Pequannock Road and Village Lane. There's an elderly housing complex right there. So it includes all that. It includes all the new, optical detection systems like all the state DOT intersections have now. So unfortunately, this is what they cost nowadays.
So there is an existing light there. What's wrong with it?
It's 30-something years old, 35 years old. It's difficult to get parts for it. Groton Utilities does our maintenance for us, and they've told us that, there's a few things that if they go, that's it, the light's going to be out.
What kind of bulb does it use?
Right now it's got, we replaced the old bulbs with LEDs.
So it has a new ballast then?
Well, it has LED lights in it. I don't know if it has a ballast or not. But.
Okay. So I understand it's old, but it functions pretty well because I go through that intersection multiple times a day. There's more
to it than just the bulbs. There's a cabinet next to the intersection. You'll see the Allocation intersection. In those things is all sorts of controllers, electronic devices, and these things, they get old, and they don't make replacement parts for these things anymore. It's not so much the bulbs on the heads themselves, but it's the brains of the operation that, if that fails and we can't replace it, we won't have a signal.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Thomas.
After the fact, is there going to be an accounting for that? Just so I'd be curious just to see how all the costs break down, just for my own information. Like after this is done, like I get the sense it's going to pass no matter what. So I'm just curious to know. When you do projects like this, is there a place we can go afterwards to kind of look at how it all broke down? Do we get it like an invoice?
Yeah, I mean, this would be, we have an engineer designing it, putting the plans and specifications together right now. That was approved last year, CIP. So then we go out, we publicly bid all these projects. There'll be line items for everything from the mast arms to the foundations to the electronics lights. And I mean, there'll be like 50 items in there. You can go through and see line by line what we're paying for each thing. So the bids, we go with the low bidder. He comes in at $380,000 or whatever it is. And then we like to have a contingency when we're in construction. So if we run into rock or something, we've got some extra funds to pay to keep the project moving along. But at the end of the day, yes, you can, we will have a number of what it actually costs to put this in.
And where could a person go to find that information once the project is complete?
Well, all our bids are, when we first get the bids are on the website. You go to the purchasing site on our town webpage, you can see all bids that have been received. That'll tell you what the low bid was. Mm-hmm. But then, like I said, if there's stuff that happens during construction, you'd have to probably contact our office and ask for that information. And we'd be happy to provide that.
All right. And then, after all this stuff is done, is there a report somewhere that we could access?
There would be a final pay requisition that shows what the final number was paid to the contractor.
And that'd be in the same location on the website in the purchasing area?
No, it's not on the website. That's something you'd have to get from our office.
Okay.
But then there's also we're paying the consultant to review all the submittals, make sure they're putting the right equipment in and they're doing the proper job. So there's going to be some costs there too. So that's all factored into this
right.
430.
All right. Very well. Thank you.
Representative Pacino.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. How many lights do we have in the town, and how many are we responsible for?
The number of lights, I couldn't begin to answer that question. I know the town of Groton has 4. This is the last one to be replaced or updated. We just recently did the one at Crystal Lake Road, the main gate, subbase main gate. Briar Hill Road and Gunjiwamp we just did a few years ago, and then the one at Clodchester on Route 1 is actually ours, even though it's on a state road. But all the rest in town are all state DOT-owned traffic signals.
Do you have the traffic numbers that goes to this particular light, this intersection?
I mean, as far as the vehicles go? Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Don't know I don't think I have that information with me tonight.
All right. Thank you.
Any further questions? Representative Cerf. Representative Cerf? You're muted. Representative Cerf, you're muted. There you go. We still can't hear you. Are we muted by any chance? Hold on. We're trying to fix it on this side. Representative, somebody else online, could you just say hello so that we know that it's working on that side?
Hello, it's
okay.
working.
Thank you, Representative Frickman. Representative Cerf? I'm sorry, we're not hearing you. I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Decorum, please. Okay. Seeing no, I'm sorry, we still can't hear you, Representative Cerf. Can you call? Okay, I'm sorry, we just can't hear you. Okay, seeing no other comments, the vote is for $430,000 for CIP 1B. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All those opposed? Okay, I have Thomas, Eben, Surf, and Gardner opposed. That is passes 24 to 4 to 0. Next up is CIP 1C Groton Longpoint Bridge Reconstruction on page 212.
In the committee, we had a number presented of $350,000. The committee unanimously moved that number by a vote of 4 yes.
For CIP 1G, the amount is $350,000, moved by Representative Merritt, seconded by Representative Norman. Is there any discussion?
That's 1C, not J.
1C.
1C.
1C, not G.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the correction. My apologies. CIP 1C, amount on page 212, $350,000 for the Groton Longpoint Bridge reconstruction. Representative Thomas.
Just a quick point of, clarifying information. See, the design's not finalized yet, or is it?
No, we've completed the preliminary design engineering, and we'll actually be going to the council, I believe, at the committee of the whole on June 14th. We're scheduled to go in with our consultant to present it to the council. At that point, we'll apply to the federal feds for a federal loan for 80% of this bridge project. The town would pay 20%, and once we do that, then and they approve the preliminary design, we'll go into final design and permitting, which is what these funds are going to be used for, which will be over the next year, probably a year and a half, and then construction would probably start maybe 2024.
Okay, thank you. Now, as far as the preliminary designs go, is it going to include sidewalks and like fishing areas for?
Right now, it shows a sidewalk on the south side of the road and the bridge from Esker Point Beach all the way to East Shore Avenue.
Okay.
But it doesn't show like a separate fishing platform or anything. That we looked at that, and that was taken out of the project.
Okay, but that's not finalized yet, right? That still goes before the council.
Yeah, this still has to go to the council.
All right.
It's still in preliminary stages.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, for CIP 1C, we're voting in the amount of $350,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. Online, I have all those opposed. Do we have any abstentions? Representative Surf, I'm sorry, you still have your hand up. Can you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, please? She had it up for yes, I believe, but Representative Frickman, I'm sorry, any abstentions? Representative Frickman, I did not get your vote.
I was a yes, sorry.
Okay, so that passes 28 to 0 to 0. Next up is CIP 1E, Road Construction, Main Street in Knowink on page 213.
Okay, we had a number of $75,000, and Public Works Committee voted 4 in favor. I moved the number of $75,000.
Okay, CIP 1D, any questions or comments?
No, it's one. That's E.
I'm sorry. Thank you. In order. Jacome? That was it. Thank you. Representative Surf, do you have a comment? Your hand's up. I'm sorry, I still can't hear you. Representative Surf, I'm sorry, we can't hear you. I'm sorry. Seeing no other comments, we are voting on CIP 1E in the amount of $75,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Representative Frickman, I don't have a vote for you again. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I missed my hand button. I'm a yes.
Okay, so that passes 28-0. Next up is CIP 1F North Stonington Road Bridge on page 214.
The committee moved the council's number of 0, 3 yes, and 1 no.
Second. Oh.
Thank you. So this number, the number 0 was moved by the town manager, by the town council. We don't have the ability to raise it above that number, so our only number is 0. Representative Frickman, did you want to speak to this? No.
Nope, I was just making sure that was the case. Never mind, I'm good.
Okay. Any other comment? Representative Wells.
I wouldn't propose a number, but I would like to comment on the situation. The town has de facto created, by not replacing this bridge, has created an unsatisfactory or a cul-de-sac. There's no place to turn around. And there's no oil trucks, delivery trucks have to back in and out of North Stonington Road to reach the Groton residents in there. We've all seen signs in front of people's houses, don't turn in my driveway. The plan is we've included their driveways as part of the way to get out of there. And I noticed most recently one of the landowners has put a fence up to extend a stone wall, essentially, reducing the ability to turn around on his property. It's not satisfactory to continue this way. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Wells. Representative Eben.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I just wanted to ask the town manager. In my book, I have $920,000 for this, so I don't understand. I see that the town council zeroed it, but I believe you didn't put. Why is it in my book? What under the town manager, the request?
Was that one that was changed? I believe that was one of them that.
After the fact?
We got after the book.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
book came out and then we changed it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And the reason I put 0 in there in the first place, I wanted to keep it alive because if I don't put something in the CIP, it wouldn't fall on the list and go through the Planning and Zoning Commission. So I zeroed it, knowing that they were bringing in Stonington representatives to talk with the council about possibly funding it. So I was trying to keep it alive to give them a chance to do something.
Thank you for explaining that.
I just want to note that, and I know I was supposed to talk from up here, but I agree with Representative Wells. This needs to be taken care of, but it definitely needs to be taken care of with Stonington. And so we need to come to a point where we can all come together and fund this project finally. But I agree 100%. Representative Aubry.
I think everybody knows that I don't agree with this. I think we should be replacing that bridge. I'm just wondering, for the town manager, how long the state's going to hold on to the money that they're supposed to be putting into this.
There's really no way to tell. Do you have a Philip?
They basically just commit the funds. They don't actually have it sitting there like in a bank account or something waiting for it. So they've committed, and every time I ask, they say yes, they're still committed. So it's, from what I understand, there's really no deadline for this.
If I can just share with the group, I don't think Stonington is ever going to come forward and offer the monies that we're asking for. We have enough problems with the library. As you know, they don't give as much as we do every year for the Mystic Library.
We need to stay on topic, please. This topic.
Stay on the point. I thought I was on the point. Okay. Let me think for just a second. Anyways, I think that if there was ever a time that we could do this and something that would be a good use of the ARPA money, it's now. If we could use that money for the Stonington's portion and get this done so that it makes things safer in that area, I think it's the only fair thing for West Mystic. And I think we really should come up with a way that we could make this happen without going back continuously and asking Stonington. And now they come and they tell us before we even ask that they're not going to give us any money. So unless somebody's got a magic wand, I think we should be really looking to using some of the special monies. Thank you.
Representative Jacome.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I don't think, in good conscience, I could agree with paying Stonington fair share of it. While I do, I think we should have good intentions, both of us working together. I think Stonington needs to come to the table, and I think they've said that they would hopefully look at it in their next budget session. So I do hope and urge, hopefully, the town manager to do that moving forward. Thank you.
Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So in the February 8th Town Council meeting, there was a lengthy discussion about this, and it seems like there is some will on the Stonington side to come to the table. We got to get our timing right in order to sync up with their budget cycles, and so I want to commend the Town Council for having that session that included the first select person.
First select woman?
Yeah. All right. The leader from Stonington. That was a good first move, and I for one appreciate that, and I look forward to hearing more of that. And I would ask the town manager if there's anything on the schedule upcoming to follow up on that initial meeting.
Not currently, but I'll mention that part of their reason for not tackling it right now is they have another bridge that's out between Stonington and Ledyard that you have to go about 20 minutes around emergency personnel, so that's more critical to them. So they're trying to figure out that one first before they come back to this one.
Representative Cerf.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
I'm back on my... Okay. Is there some way that we could use ARPA funds for that bridge instead of for the golf course? It would look more... To me, I'm concerned about the visual. I think it would look a lot better if we did that.
We already voted on the golf course, but this is something that could be considered for ARPA funds?
In a separate process, right?
In a separate process, yes, but not today.
The council could, put it towards any time they want, really.
Okay.
Okay, seeing no other comments, the number on the floor is $0. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, all opposed, please raise your hand. I have Representative Wells, Representative Merritt, Representative Aubry. All those opposed, please Representative Whitney and Representative Cerf. So that passes 23-5-0. Oh, I'm sorry, any abstentions? I didn't ask that question. 23-5-0. Okay, next up is CIP 1I, GLP Pavement Management Program.
We have a number of $125,000 moved by the committee and moved by the council.
Seeing none, the number on the floor is $125,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Please raise your hand. Representative Kopp, is that opposed? No? Okay. Representative Giampiero, is that opposed? It was up before. Okay. Representative Surf, are you opposing this number? Can you put your thumb up or thumb down? That would help me. Oh, I just lost her.
This is Representative Surf. I approve the number.
Yes, okay. So that passes. Any abstentions? That passes 28-0-0. Next up is CIP 2A Culvert Rehabilitation on page 216.
I have a number of $1,482,000. 4 yes by committee.
Okay. CIP 2A in the amount of $1,482,000. Any comments, questions? Representative Norman?
I see that the Connecticut DOT has given a commitment to fund 50%. So with the 1.4, we're only pulling $741,000 out of our general funds. I just want to confirm that.
That's correct. Yeah, the rest is
Okay.
DOT local bridge funds.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Seeing no other questions or comments, we're moving $1,482,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Representative Gardner? Representative Surf, did you vote?
Yes, I say no.
Okay, Representative Surf. Any abstentions? So that passes 26-2-0. Next up is CIP 2B, local drainage improvement, new install on page 217, sorry.
I have a number of $45,000. By committee, that was a unanimous vote of 4 in favor.
Any comments or questions on this? That was the number passed by the town council and asked for by the, yes, Representative Jacome.
I just want to make sure to the town manager, these were the pictures in that email we received with flooded private property. What was this the email you sent us with the flooded property, or am I confusing
What was
it?
that? I don't remember.
Willow Point.
Willow Point.
Is that correct?
Yeah, we have neighbors that contact us constantly about that. And actually, earlier I saw a couple people in the back. They were here for that, but we outlasted them. But this is very critical that we figure this out.
Well, yeah, I would definitely be in support of this. I saw the email and the pictures. It's a must, especially if it fits specifically the town's open drainage pipe that's causing this. It's also assisting in the flooding.
That's the one down by Pfizer, isn't it?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. That's
we
the.
already have money for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of CIP 2B in the amount of $45,000, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Representative Surf, are you still a yes? You were a yes in the beginning. Okay, so that passes 28-0. Next up is CIP 3B replacement sidewalk construction on page 219.
I have a number of $75,000. This is the council's number, and our committee's number is unanimous, 4 in favor.
Second, Chase.
CIP 3B in the amount of $75,000 moved by Merritt, seconded by Chase. Any questions or comments? Representative Aubry.
I was just wondering if you might tell us kind of where you plan on using this money. Is there a particular area you're going to work on?
Right now, we're primarily focused on Route 1, probably like from Route 117 up to Route 12, fixing deteriorated sidewalk panels, removing trip hazards. Some cases we have to replace sidewalks. In other places, we can get a contractor come in and he actually grinds it or cuts it down to remove trip hazards. It's a lot cheaper to do that. So that's where we're focusing our money on now. We're trying to program $75,000 each year to slowly move around town, but we're looking at the high pedestrian areas to start with.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of CIP 3B in the amount of $75,000, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? I have opposite. Representative Surf is a no.
That's a no.
Thank you. Anyone else opposed? Any abstentions? That passes 27-1-0. Last up tonight, CIP 3C, infill sidewalk construction on page 220.
I have a number of $200,000. That is coming from other funding, and that was the committee's number by a vote of 4, which is unanimous, and I move the number $200,000.
Motion made by Merrick, seconded by Eben. Representative Norman.
So I'm looking at what you have laid out here, and you have $200,000 per year, sort of over 6 years, giving you 1.2. I look at where you're planning on building sidewalks. That's a lot more than 1.2 million. Does this plan actually extend well past that, and it's more than 6 years long, or which of these are not getting done?
The ones that we're focusing on are the Route 1. Downtown Groton to Route 12, north side of Route 1 from 117 to Groton, Groton Longpoint Road from Brook Street to Esker Point. There's certain ones here like, Route 1 from Groton Longpoint to Judson Avenue. That, we show a number there, but that is going to be years down the road. Fishtown Road is going to be years down the road.
So which of these are, what are we doing this year, and which of these are included in that 1.2 million?
200,000.
Well, 200,000 for this year. So which of those, which is sort of less than any of these most of these individual ones, and then the total for this project was 1.2, which it's just the roads are so much more than that. It's over $2 million.
Well, it's a multi-year project, so we're just asking for 200 per year, and we'll just start attacking these areas, high priority areas first, and keep going, as long as we get funding for it. So it could be more than the 6 years.
And you don't have to do a complete segment in a year. You go as far as you can and pick it up again the next time.
So what roads are we doing now?
We're doing Route 1 right now.
Which Route 1? There's 2 on the list.
From 117, because we got money last year, so so that one actually most of that could come off the the list is the Route 1 from 117 to downtown Groton. And then so we'll do downtown Groton to Route 12, where there's sections missing. We'll do as much as we can there. And once those are all done, we'll probably go to like I said, Groton Longpoint Road.
Okay. So you've already done Route 1 to Route 117. That one's done. You're then on the first bullet, which is Route 1, downtown Groton to Route 12. You're going to work on that this year. And then additionally, if you can, you'll move to Groton Longpoint Road. Did I hear that right?
Yes, and subsequent years. Yep.
Great, thank you.
Representative Surf.
Yes, I bike a lot, and I've noticed that the only way we're going to get bike lanes, I think, on some of our narrow roads is if we eliminate the sidewalks on one side of the street instead of having two of them. Now, that's a humble opinion, but I'm wondering if you could explain to us how you're going to get bike paths and sidewalks, working together on these roads so that we can have bike paths everywhere. Otherwise, it's really dangerous. So I'm interested in the plan.
Representative Surf, we're not talking about bike lanes right now. We're only talking about sidewalks, and I understand your concern with bike lanes, but I think that's a whole nother subject.
So there's no, it says on the CIP that the bike paths are a part of the plan.
My mistake. Thank you.
So it's just sidewalks again?
Oh, no, this is where new sidewalks are needed. As part of that master plan, this is where they're talking about where sidewalks are needed.
But some of these areas do look at potential 12-foot wide multi-use paths. Certainly not in the downtown Groton commercial areas, but when you get it along like Fishtown Road, maybe Route 1 from Groton Longpoint to Judson Avenue, those are looking at maybe potentially wider 6 to 10 foot wide multi-use paths.
Any other questions or comments? Representative Wells.
Just a brief note. If you go over to Westerly, they've designated the entire travel lane to be shared by bicycles and cars, and they paint a little sign on the road and put some signs up. And I assume that works well with in town where the speed limits are 25 or less. So I don't know how it's working out over there, but get to use the whole lane.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we are looking at CIP 3C or voting on CIP 3C in the amount of $200,000. All in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? I have Representative Surf and Representative Gardner opposed. That passes 26. I'm sorry, any abstentions? That passes 26 to 2 to 0. With that, I will take a motion to recess.
Second.
Representative Kopp, seconded by Representative Gardner. With that, we are recessed until Wednesday. We have a lot to get done Wednesday.